Okay, I call this meeting to order of the Ellettsville Town Council, Monday, July 13th, 2020. Sandy, roll call, please.
Dan Swafford,
Here.
Scott Oldham,
Here.
William Ellis,
Here.
Trevor Sager,
Here.
Pamela Samples. Here.
All right. Jimmy Durna, would you like to lead us in a prayer?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. Again, we thank you so much for the many blessings this little town has received. We ask you to be with us tonight as we do the town business, keep our minds clear, and understand that we are here for the betterment of the people and the safety of this community. We ask that you be with all those that have lost loved ones throughout the United States and be with this country as we struggle through this time of problems. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Mike Corman, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to do the pledge for us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, I'd like to just kind of remind everyone, if you're not part of the council right now, if you would mute your mic. And if you do want something to say during comment, please use the raise your hand feature. All right, first thing on the agenda, award bids for community crossing matching grant road restrictions milestone, $360,844.65. Sandy, who is this?
This is Denise in planning.
Okay.
As you know, we were awarded a grant through the Community Crossings Matching Grant Program that we submitted in January of this year. In your first meeting in June, you opened 3 bids to do the paving work pursuant to the grant. Milestone was the lowest bid in the amount of $360,844.65. We will be paving 11 streets and putting a sidewalk along Edgewood Drive. We're requesting approval of the bid and permission for the town council president to sign the bid.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any council comment? Any public comment? Okay, Sandy, roll call, please.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples. Yes.
Okay, William, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know if there's 11 streets, just what streets are they? You have that handy.
Okay, it's Hart Straight Road, and this year we did a joint grant application with the county for Hart Straight Road so we can pave it all the way through, just not only our portion. Then it's Turtleback Creek, Independence Street, Heritage Drive, Concord Street, Court Street, Campbell's Park Drive, Capitol Avenue, Association Street, East and West Chester Drive, Edgewood Drive, and the sidewalk will go along Edgewood Drive.
And Denise, when does this going to start?
Once I send the bid into the state, that will trigger us getting a purchase order and our funding. They're going to be a little late with the funding this year because of budget concerns in the state. So we're hoping the money will be September, October, but we found in the past that the paving companies are pretty good to work with us. And even though they do the work, they'll just go ahead and wait on their pavement. So Danny may have a better idea of when it will start.
Danny, do you have a better idea?
Well, not really. I was going to wait till it was finalized tonight, then I was going to call tomorrow and see where we'd be on their list. I'm sure it's going to be a month or so. I mean, because they've already kept themselves booked full as they can, you know. But really, I won't know until they tell me, you know.
Okay. Just a heads up, maybe give us a warning when you know. We can mention it that there'll be paving done and just kind of warn everyone.
Okay, sure will.
All right, thank you.
A quick question. How were these streets chosen? I mean, how do we arrive at which street gets paved and what street doesn't?
Well, we have we go around and it's called a Pazer rating, and we check the streets for cracks and then we also go by how busy the street is, plus the Pazer rating. Sorry, and then we go from there. We pick the lowest rated streets that are the busiest.
Okay, I just wondered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised to see my street was on there. I had no clue.
I was surprised mine wasn't.
Well, maybe you can move up here, William. Okay, approval of regular minute meetings for June 22nd, 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any council comment? Any public comment? Sandy, roll call, please.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples. Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, need a motion to approve account payable voucher and payroll.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any council comment? Any public comment? Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples. Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to resolutions. Resolution 09-2020, additional appropriations for school resource officer and fire equipment.
This is for funds that we received after we finalized the budget last year. The school gave us, got a grant for $75,000 for an additional school resource officer. And the township trustee gave us some extra money for equipment. Is that correct, Mike?
Thank you. No, it was the $60,000 is the allotment we received from the Public Safety Local Income Tax Committee on behalf of Richland Township. So you got most of it right, but really it's PS lit money that he was not otherwise entitled to. And we're going to purchase fire gear with that money, along with money that the township allotted to us through our supplemental fire service agreement. So basically between the township, he's buying all the fire gear for us. We're going to order it here in a couple of days.
Great. Is there a motion on this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
So the motion is to approve resolution 09-2020.
Yes.
Who was the second?
Me, Trevor.
Okay.
Okay,
And-
any, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to say we do need to take public comments because this is a public hearing and it was posted in the paper. So,
I was getting to it.
okay.
Is there any council comment on this? William?
Yes. What is the school resource officer being used for if school doesn't commence with classes? What's the plan?
Are you
Jimmy
saying if
Durnall?
Jimmy, go ahead.
Are you saying if they don't go back to school, you mean?
That's correct.
Yeah, they're just helping out with the rotation in the field, giving people some extra time off and that type of thing. So been really nice. Yeah, we've taken advantage of the whole situation. So
So everybody knows that no one's going to be idle, correct?
no one's idle. Yeah, no, we're doing well.
Any further council comment? Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries. I'd like to add that this is the second time that it had been advertised. I advertised it in early March, and was the first meeting that we missed for the COVID-19. So it's been postponed for quite a while, and I'm really glad to get it resolved. So thank you.
Yeah, I thought we'd already voted on this, but I guess not. We just brought it up and mentioned it. So
Yes.
Okay, next resolution 16-2020, fiscal plan for Burn annexation 4760 North Loudon Road, Ellettsville, Indiana. And who is this, Kevin?
Yep, I can take that. Fiscal plan resolution required by state. Not really much to this, one property being annexed. It'll add about 280,000 to our assessed value as a town, which every little bit helps lower the tax rate just a little bit more. Other than that, very little impact.
Okay. Go ahead, Sandy.
Okay, I was just trying to pull up a picture here. I think there's one in this fiscal plan that shows the property. This is
Yeah,
my
there's an
first.
map in there.
Sorry, I should have. There we go. Kevin, you want to explain that picture?
That's one of the property. I think that's up front. There should be a couple more. Front of the house, and the next one should be the backyard.
Okay, is there a motion for resolution 16-2020?
Make the motion, we approve resolution 1620.
I'll second.
Any council comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, no ordinance on first reading, down to ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 2020-20, Burns annexation, 4760 North Loudon Road, Ellettsville, Indiana. Kevin?
Should have paid attention, seeing that was coming up next. Not really a whole lot to it that I haven't said already. The property is located on Loudon Road, south of a large empty subdivision, backs up to Prominence Point. I think they're going to subdivide this lot into three small, well, I say smaller lots, probably about 5 acres each.
Okay. Is there a motion for this ordinance?
Move to approve ordinance 2020-20, the Burns annexation.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Trevor, second. Any council comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. All the way, no old business, flood report. Do we have anything on the flood report this month? I don't think so. We'll jump down to new business. Septic pumping service agreement between the town of Ellettsville and Medley Septic Services LLC. Mike, is this you?
Jeff. This is me. This is Jeff Farmer.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
This is something that was brought up at the last meeting. They had requested to have dumping privileges. At that time, I thought it was best that we postpone this to when they had a full board. So Darla come up with a contract between her and myself, something that I think all of our septic haulers should enter into in the near future. So starting with Medley Septic, we're going to start with those. The concerns I have is that we cannot accept every septic hauler in Monroe County. What makes Medley Septic unique is Steve Medley is a employee of the town. He works for the fire department as a part-time fireman. He's a local person. And so I thought it was time that these things be addressed to the board, and so they know what's going on and that there is some transparency about what's going on at the wastewater plant. So I entertain any other questions.
Any questions?
Actually, I have one. Since he's a part-time employee of the town, will there need to be any conflict of interest forms filled out for this? I guess that's more Darla.
Good question. I will look into it. I don't think there's a problem though under the conflict of interest statute, as long as any potential interest is made known to the public before the contract is entered into. So as long as you're charging him what you charge everybody else and he's not getting a break because he's a town employee, I think you're good.
William, I think it's worth noting that actually his wife is the owner of the business.
That definitely makes a big difference.
Okay, is there a motion for this? Anyone?
What's the ordinance number, Dan? I apologize.
It's actually not an ordinance, it's just an agreement.
Then I would move that we approve the agreement between the town of Ellettsville and Medley Septic.
Is
Do we
there a
want public comment or hear from Courtney first?
after the motion's made, I usually ask for the comment.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any council comment? I do have a comment, Jeff. You made the comment that we can't accept all of Monroe County waste haulers. How are we going to distinguish between who we can and cannot accept?
Dan, that's a great question. Obviously, in the contract, there's revisions to terminate any of the contracts if we feel that it's detrimental to the wastewater treatment plant and its performance. If you're not aware, since the plant come online in 1997, it's never had a violation, and I intend for that to stay the same. So if any of these haulers, I feel like that they're maybe causing some problems, we're actually taking some further steps to find out where the origin of the waste is from, so we can keep better track to make sure that we know if we do have a problem, we can trace it back to that origin and, possibly even eliminate, that person, whoever's dumping that waste. So it's kind of made us take a closer look at what we're doing and keep better track. IDEM obviously asked us to do that. So, but I don't, if there's been numerous other people call and ask if they could dump there as well. And I intend on it to be a communication between myself and the board if we can accept any more waste haulers.
What percentage waste do we currently do they put in there? I mean, is this minimal or?
I think I sent that in an email to everybody. It's pretty minimal at this point. And the nice thing is the dump fees are more than paying for all of the waste fees for the wastewater plant for the sludge we haul to Terre Haute landfill for disposal. So at this point, it's working out fine. I just don't want to get, I mean, Bloomington has kind of made it a little tougher to take stuff to their plants. They're much larger plants than Ellettsville's plants, obviously. So I just want to have the ability to say, you know, we're taking all we can at this point. And if, you know, if somebody steps out, maybe we can take you. But I still want, being a business that manages your wastewater treatment plant, I want you guys to be in the loop and let you be the decision makers along with my input, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Sure. And you say this is an agreement. Do we have the agreement with the other haulers too? I can't remember what you said about that.
It's currently been a verbal agreement, and I intend for there'll be 4 of us hauling, 4 different companies hauling into the wastewater plant. And I intend with Darla to take the agreement we have here with Medley and turn it into agreements with each septic hauler.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Jeff. Any further council comments or questions? Any public comment on this? Seeing none, Sandy, roll call.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next thing under new business, appeal of code enforcement decision resulting from a violation of 96.02, keeping of domestic livestock or exotic animals, specifically ducks, and a request for a variance of 96.02, paragraphs 4B and 5 to enlarge the coop runs on 109 West Ritter Street. Who is this?
This is Denise in Planning Department,
Okay,
and Craig Allen at 109 West Ritter is present on the Zoom meeting. I received a complaint about ducks being kept on the property and chicken running at large. So I sent Mr. Allen a letter, and he's been very cooperative. And I advised there was an appeal process of 96.02, that whole section of the code, and it has to come to town council. So it's his desire to appeal this decision. So when it's time to make the motion, I would request a separate motion on the appeal and then one on his revision of the town code. I will remind the council that in June 11th, 2018, they did allow Samantha Burnett, she requested a decision as well to have ducks at her residence, and it was town council decision that she could have ducks with the understanding once the flock passed away, she would not get any more. Basically, that's what it is. He had a few ducks on the property, and he's just appealing that decision.
and our code currently doesn't allow for any ducks, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And 109 West Ritter, is that right downtown? I can't remember where. Where's Ritter Street?
It's a couple up past South Sale. Past.
But it's by Seven Oaks. I mean, kind of.
Yeah. Thanks.
Is there a water on this area or anything, or are they in a coop?
They were in a coop. There's I didn't see any water features around the property.
Okay. All right. Does the council have any questions?
More of a comment. I've been contacted by someone in my district complaining about roosters crowing and ducks running around. Concerned that one, they can damage cars if the cars hit them. Also worried about the ducks, their safety. So neighbor wise, there's been a concern.
Any further comments, questions?
I guess my question is, and it's not a well thought out question, so I'll give you that up front. Why do we care if they have ducks as long as they're coops just as well as chickens?
Just because they aren't allowed by code, and I received a complaint.
No, that's not what, sorry, Denise, that my question wasn't necessarily addressed to you. It's more of a question to the entire council. If they're going to coop them like they do chickens, then why do we care?
We don't care.
I don't really care. The only concern that I really heard big time was the rooster, because it was waking everybody up.
Sure. No, I get that one completely. I do. I'm just not sure
what the difference between a duck and a chicken is what.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I guess I know the difference, but as far as keeping one, I don't know that there's a difference.
Duck's a little more gamey.
Only if you eat it, not if you're keeping it. Yeah.
Back when the council redid this ordinance, it was quite a debate. And there was lots of conversation. I think it was just narrowed down to chickens because maybe at that time there was no demand for ducks, but.
Well, Denise, can you help me out on this one? Where do we stand on rabbits? I guess if we're going to go down this road, let's just ask that question. Where do we stand on letting people have rabbits?
That is not addressed in the code, I don't think. I was just looking at that really quick. It says they address hog, pig, and swine and other fowl, but let me look real quick.
I think if I remember right, Phil Smith had rabbits taken out of the ordinance.
Yeah, I thought Phil was arguing for rabbits because I was going to go this way.
Yeah, he was, and that's why that we didn't put anything in the ordinance, if I remember correctly, because he was very big into 4-H and raising rabbits and things like that. And I think, and this has been several years ago, but the thing is, if we allow, a 4-H member to raise a rabbit for a 4-H fair, why can't someone else raise rabbits for food or whatever have? So I think.
Excuse me. What it says shall be unlawful for any person to keep, harbor, or allow about the premises of any such person any domestic livestock, except for those areas designated as Ag 1 or Ag 2, has permitted by Chapter 152 or set forth. But I will say rabbit I don't think it's even specifically defined in this code when I was looking at it. It addresses about like chinchilla, ferrets, gerbils, everything like that as domestic pet. Livestock is considered buffalo, oxen, mules, cattle, mink, swine, sheep, llamas, pot-bellied pigs, fowl, pigeons, and doves, but it does not list rabbits.
Yeah, and I guess where I'm going with that is, and having been involved in this conversation years ago on, frankly, both sides of the issue, if you'll stop right there with the scroll on the screen, we talk about fowl, a chicken, duck, goose, guinea, turkey, peacock, or waterfowl. If they're cooped, why do we care necessarily? I get the whole rooster thing, but then we start splitting. Well, that was going to be a really bad pun. Then we start going one way or another on the rabbits. One's for food, one's for 4-H. And I remember Phil going down that road when we were doing this, and I don't remember why we were going down that road. But there you just see all these folks that have different pets that they're raising for 4-H or for whatever else. I get you don't want a cow in the backyard or a full-size horse in the backyard in a residential area, but why are we care about ducks?
Yeah,
why do we care about turkeys?
I agree. Now turkeys are loud too, though.
Well, I get it. I mean, if you're going to go down that way, if we're going to talk about the loudness of them, okay. But
peacocks too. Yeah.
But is duck really that much different than a chicken? I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't raised on a farm enough to know.
They'll eat your garden.
They what?
They'll eat your garden.
But not through the coop, right?
Right. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's the difference. That a duck will tear your garden up. But I'm like you, Scott. If they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're not getting on other people's yards, what does it harm for us to have animals?
Right.
I mean, people, it's a backyard thing this day and age. It's big. It's big on chickens and everything else. And we want to be a welcoming town. And, you know, there are people these days that are raising chickens and stuff. I have chickens in my backyard. And why can't we let them? Why can't we say yes and else we can't? We're not going to be like a dictator. We're not going to be strict on rules, but you have to follow the rules and have them enclosed. They cannot be out in other people's yards. And then they're not hurting anything. Mine are in a 5-foot chain link fence. I mean, they're not bothering nobody.
That's just kind of where I was going. As long as they're in the same kind of pen that a chicken is in, if they don't make any more noise, what does it
No.
matter?
Right. And I agree with that too, as long as there's not an over volume of it or any other kind of, you know,
Don't we
any
limit?
kind of health violation or anything like that.
Well, I think we limit the animals to 5 in total, do we not?
That's what I thought too.
Hens.
I'm
We're
sorry.
we limit it to 5 hens.
So if we just
Chicken
limit it
hen.
to 5 total, no matter where it's ducks or chickens.
Yeah, but I'd like to see it raised. I mean, come on.
Well,
I mean, I don't want 20 of them or 30 of them running around my yard, but like 6 to 8 is not going to hurt anything. The chickens don't do nothing. And I do eggs and I give them away to people that don't have a lot of money. I give them to my mother, my old people. You know, we eat them. They don't hurt anything. And as long as you keep their pens clean. Mine are in a 5-foot fence, plus they got their chicken coops. They bother nobody.
Denise,
think-
what would that do to us if we allow chicken or allow ducks to raise the number for chickens?
I guess Denise, if including the duck and the chicken, how many does this person have? And I can't remember if there was a name mentioned, but Ritter Street.
Yeah, he's on a Zoom meeting. His name's Craig Allen. Craig, could you speak to how many you'd like, please?
Well, I guess whatever you guys would allow me to have. Is originally I had 2 ducks. It's like I said, whatever you guys would permit.
And 2 ducks is all you have, sir?
That's all I did have. When I got the order that I had to remove the 2 ducks and the rooster, I had those gone within 48 hours. So now I'm just down to 3 hens and actually, I guess 5 hens, 2 little silkies. I'm just waiting for them to get big enough to go in with the other hens.
So you would like 5 hens and 2 ducks, basically.
Yes. I mean, if I'm allowed more ducks, I mean, I would, that would be nice. I don't want to take advantage of you guys, but like I said, whatever you guys would permit, because I just want them for their eggs. I don't want them for food.
Right. Well, I kind of agree with what Scott says. A number, and be it ducks or chickens, whichever. So I do like that, Scott. So what's the number you guys are comfortable with?
So you guys are talking about a combination ducks or chickens, total of 7, example 7 or example of 8.
Right.
Okay.
Is it what you said, Scott?
Yeah, I'm just asking the question. I mean, is there a downside here I'm not seeing to allowing ducks?
No, I'm good with it.
No, we're
No, I mean, do we have an issue with waste or anything like that? The duck brings more disease or anything?
No.
no, actually the ducks eat bugs too. So
what number are you thinking then?
I would like to go to 10 because some people too have dogs. You may have 1 or 2 dogs and then you want your backyard ducks and chickens. But with the stipulation, like you said, they can't be roaming around. They have, like mine are contained in a 5-foot chain link fence. I don't let them run around the neighbors or anything. I don't think they hurt anything. But yes, roosters, I agree with not to have roosters.
bear in mind that some lot sizes are only 1/4 an acre, and that's a pretty small yard. If you get a lot of animals and you're in, you've got like 10 feet between you and your neighbor, it could create an odor for the neighbor. And
No, ours don't. They got to keep them clean. I mean, you've got to keep your animals clean. I have neighbors, they enjoy my chickens. They love watching them. Their kids just get a real big kick out of it.
Pam, could you go down to like 8, kind of split the middle between 5 and 10? Or are you adamant on 10?
How about 9? Let's go with, you said
How
8. Please.
How about 8.5?
No,
I really
How
hope
does
you
that
realize you
work?
could create a problem for others. I mean, the whole reason we worked on this years ago was because there was a dispute between two neighbors. And not everybody might be as neat and tidy. Hopefully they are, but
well, then if people complain, Sandy, then we can address it. Denise and them can address it. That could be a stipulation. They are to be kept clean.
I'm good with 8, I think.
I'm just worried if we put a.
No, let's do 9. I'll do the same.
William, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm worried if we put a stipulation and it be kept clean, then we're going to get into the argument of what clean is.
And who checks it?
Yeah, and I mean, then we're going to put planning into a situation that, for an agricultural, I mean, I don't know if that can be.
Well, we've actually already got it in the ordinance, because under number B4, chicken coops and chicken runs shall be maintained and shall be regularly cleaned to control dust, odor, waste, and not constitute a safety hazard or health problem.
Then that should cover it. Now, the total number, are you guys saying that would apply to all pets?
Yes, I want to do 9, Scott. Come on. You said 8.
I'm just asking. And William, I think we're just talking about foul at this point.
Foul, yeah.
Foul. And you know, the stipulations stay in effect. So if you have 9 of them, you still have to have the coop size that will handle the 9. I read somewhere, Sandy, you scrolled it and I didn't see it, but
20 square feet per hen.
Yeah, so you would jump up to 180 square foot. So
Yeah, he's going, the next thing on the agenda is he's requesting a variance to allow for a larger chicken/duck coop.
plus it has to be so far from the property line. So,
yeah, what was the setback on that? Do you remember?
6. It's
wow, that's it. 6 feet.
2 right now.
yeah, right there, number 2.
You'd think it would be the 10 feet, but
Well, the coop, no, that's how far the coop can be from the property line, is 6 feet.
Because we ran into that same thing on lot size before, when our original negotiations on this, 10 years ago now, something like that?
It's probably getting close to that, yes.
It was guys, in 10 years we've had that I can remember, Denise helped me out, 3 or 4 complaints at most. And there's a bunch of folks with chickens.
That's correct, yes.
okay, Denise, does your department have any problem if we up the number and or the size variance of this ordinance?
Well, I don't know. I would have to ask Darla. I don't know if that means we need to change the code, or if you guys make a motion that it changes it that way. I just don't know.
I think you're going to have to change the code. If you're going to allow ducks and consider them the same as chickens, I think we need to clean up the code to say that. And if you're going to change the number from whatever it is, 5 or 6 to 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever, the code needs to be changed so that everybody knows what the rules are. So.
Can I make a suggestion tonight, Dan?
Sure, go ahead, Scott.
I would move that we grant this variance and direct staff to prepare code corrections as we've discussed.
I think that sounds good to me. We can just allow him a variance until the code has been changed.
I would second that.
Okay, the variance is just to allow the coop or the run. So you're granting the variance to build a larger coop, but you're not making a decision on how many animals he can have at this time.
Right, we'll direct staff to make corrections, and then we can debate those corrections in our next meetings or two.
Well, what do we do about Mr. Allen at this time appealing my decision to allow ducks? Do you want to table that till the code's changed?
Well,
Mr. Allen, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so if we allowed you a variance on the coop size, could you wait a month or something until we change the code on the amount?
Yes, I can do that. That's no problem. I don't have ducks right now, so like I said, I can wait until all of that's been arranged.
How large are you wanting to build the coop?
What's that?
How large are you wanting to build the coop?
Well, currently I have it at 200 square feet. That was to accommodate for the number of birds that I had. And if I'm allowed to have the ducks back, I just would like to keep that size instead of tearing it down to just rebuild it again.
Town code right now states the maximum size is 20 square feet per hen.
So with 5 hens, so 100 square feet.
Right, so that's why he was wanting a larger coop, was to accommodate the ducks as well. And I'm all for him being allowed to have as much room as he can for the
Sure.
ducks and hens.
And if we go to 9, that he would need 180 square feet anyway. So I say this is good. We allow him a variance now. And then if you guys can clean the code up and bring it to us, I think that's the way we need to go.
And we're still at 6 feet from the property line with that size, correct?
Yes, I'm actually 7 feet away from the property line just to be safe.
Okay.
I'm back to why do we care? As long as he stays within the property, the 6 feet, 7 feet, how many square feet his chicken run is.
I just
I
think
agree.
because I've had complaints. That's why.
And it is a courtesy to allow your, any space between you and your neighbor. I
No,
mean,
I get that. I mean, but again, we got into 20 square feet per hen. As long as they're offset from the property line, why do we care about the 20 square feet? That's more of an educational question for me than it is anything else, guys.
Oh,
just to have some kind of control.
yeah. For me, I just want to make sure it's back from the property line. I really don't have a preference to the size.
Yeah, that's just it. As long as you're back from the property line, I don't care.
Right. It's your property.
I mean, I can see it being too small.
Exactly. And I think
Yeah,
that's why they've got that code in there to keep it from being too small.
But I think it says it doesn't go that way, does it, Denise? It talks about the maximum you can have, not the minimum.
Or the minimum it says is 12 square feet per
Okay.
hen.
All right. Thank you for correcting me.
So this
Or
was in compliance with that for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, any further discussion on this before we go to a motion? Okay, and we already made the motion, correct?
No,
Yeah, as long as Darla's good with it, the way it's worded.
There was a motion. I'm not sure there was a second, or was there a motion? I got lost in there.
And
Sorry.
I think I made the motion, and Scott, didn't you second it?
Well, I thought I made the motion and.
Oh, maybe that. Maybe
I don't have anybody marked down yet. So let's go back
Okay.
to the agenda and see what it says here so you have some help making your motion. Right here.
How about I move that we allow a variance of code 96-02 on the size of the chicken coop to be 200 square feet? Does that sound all right, Darla?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, any further council comment? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, so in regard to revising the code, you want it to read that folks are allowed 9 animals, any combination, as long as it's 9 animals, ducks or hens.
I think that's what everyone was saying, yes.
Okay.
8.5, I think, not 9.
No, I'd have to cut a chicken in half.
What nuggets are for?
Okay, so,
I have a
Darla,
question.
sure. Who is that, Sandy?
Yeah, I thought I saw in here somewhere that the following regulations as set forth in Monroe County animal management laws. So I think before we start totally doing it, we need to check with Monroe County laws to make sure they accommodate for us to do it, because They have the animal management. We do not.
No, Sandy, it says in addition to the regulations set forth.
Okay,
I'm sure Darla will look into that when she's doing it.
okay.
And then, so Darla and Denise, you guys will work on that and bring it back to us.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
thank
Moving
you.
on. You're welcome. All right, moving on. Approval to pay for 3 appraisers for the services on 104 Vine Street.
Yes, the court, as the council's aware, the appraisers issued their report on 104 West Vine, and now the town is required to pay the appraisers for their services, and the total is $7,000 for all 3 of them.
So moved.
Second.
Any council comment on this?
Who was the second?
Trevor.
I was thinking the appraisals were higher than that. It was just 7,000. And that was 3 appraisals, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, for 3 appraisers, yes.
3 appraisers, all right. Any council comment? Any public comment? Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, before we get to this next item, I know this is going to be kind of a big subject here. This is something we are just going to discuss and go from there. Mandatory mask usage. Someone needs to shut their door. Okay, so who wants to take this? Well, I'll kind of, go ahead.
I guess. As the council's aware, Dan Swafford and I participated in a phone conference with members of Monroe County Emergency Management Services, the chief of police for the city, the sheriff, the GOEs from IUPD, Penny Caudill, Monroe County Commissioner Julie Thomas, and county attorneys. And essentially what is coming down the pike, likely, as you read in the paper, in addition, is that the county is considering drafting an ordinance with regard to mandatory mask usage. They haven't worked out all the elements of the ordinance yet, but I think the idea was to have the local police force, and I forgot Jimmy was in on the phone call too. So the idea is to have the local law enforcement educate people about mask wearing, providing someone with a ticket or an ordinance, a citation for an ordinance violation, I think is kind of a last resort, but I think the intent of the ordinance is to encourage mask wearing on the part of the, and to get the police and the local police departments involved in doing that, which is not to say that the will be required to answer complaints or phone calls about people not wearing masks. Those phone calls will not be filtered through 911. But if, for example, you get a call to a party or a loud noise complaint and you find that the folks there are not social distancing and they're not wearing a mask, then the police officer can use that as an opportunity to educate them and or write a citation if the officer thinks it's appropriate. So.
Okay, does the council want to comment on this?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
And I've made the council aware of this in an email. I have strong thoughts about this. No secret what I do for a living. I think to use the police for this is overly complex, and I don't want to use necessarily the word heavy-handed, but heavy-handed. When we have more and more people complaining about, what the police do and do not, to now add another layer of let's send the police, they'll do it. Well, that just means it got shifted to the bottom. The police are the last resort, and it shouldn't be that. If this is an emergency, declare it an emergency and go from there. But if you're going to declare an emergency with 2 weeks worth of talking about it, I'm sorry, I can't go down that road with you. I think there are better ways to do this, less intrusive ways to do this than to saddle law enforcement with yet another program that has to be enforced or educated or provided when we're doing good to answer calls as it is. There are other means that this can be achieved. There are other educational opportunities that the county can take to do this. And I, for one, don't want to see Ellettsville police saddled with this responsibility in any shape, form, or fashion.
I agree, Scott.
And, Scott, having said that, Jimmy Journal was on the call, and it's very evident to me, and it made sense what Mr. Journal was telling me, that, this could definitely escalate into something bigger, especially if you're trying to have someone put on a mask that they do not and refuse to wear it, and they're upset that you're telling them to do that, and they get belligerent, and then it could escalate to, anything could happen. And I totally agree that I think I even made the suggestion that they need to get code enforcement people, whoever, to go out and do this, but take it away from the police. So, and it was very obvious that none of the other police wanted anything to do with it either. So I really have mixed feelings on it. Yes, masks are a great idea. The enforcement of it is just, it's going to be extremely difficult no matter which way they go with it. And when we said that it was like the smoking ordinance, and someone correct me, but I do remember when Monroe County had the smoking ordinance, the town of Ellettsville did not go along with it. And wasn't that taken to court or something, and the town had won that? I really don't remember.
That's correct. The town won the lawsuit.
Because of home rule.
Yes.
So, Darla, my question is, how is that any difference in the mask and the smoking ordinance?
Well, I don't know until we see the final draft of the ordinance, but I think Monroe County can pass an ordinance. I think the difference between the smoking ordinance probably is that the county health department has certain specific statutory authorities during a pandemic or a public health crisis or during emergencies. I don't have the statute in front of me, so I think that's slightly different than the smoking ordinance. So Monroe County can pass the ordinance, and Monroe County can enforce the ordinance, but whether Ellettsville can be required to help them enforce it, I guess, for lack of a better word right now, is a different issue. So.
Okay. William, you wanted to say something?
Absolutely. The mask enforcement has been so politicized, and you're putting the police in a situation by having them being the enforcement mechanism that if they go to a church and see it's not being done and they mask, and we have a bunch of protests and those aren't being enforced, then the police are being tools of the political apparatus in the county. And I really cannot, the police do not need to be put in that position. They're not nannies, they're not tattletales, and they've got more important things to do. As their resources are being talked about being defunded, some of these people have the nerve to add more to their responsibilities, and they're worried about escalation. You think going to a party and with a bunch of people that are already inebriated, then telling them and educating them on masks is going to work? Are they that stupid they haven't seen the 50,000 different ads? We're all in this together, and mask up and all that stuff. If they're that dense and don't get it through their head, then an officer with a weapon telling them that's not going to be taken as, oh, they're just educating me. That's going to be taken as a direct threat. And I do not want to put any of our police officers in that line where they have to deal with that situation, because I can see some of these drunks taking swings at officers, and then it becomes an entirely different issue. And I just, if the Board of Health wants to make the rules, they can figure out how to enforce them without law enforcement, because they've obviously not been enforcing this equally so far. So why start now?
Yep.
And William, I agree with you, and that's pretty much what me and Jimmy were discussing. That it could definitely escalate very quickly. So I agree with you 100% on this. This is it's kind of dangerous times in our world right now. So adding something like that on top of it is not very smart. So Trevor, do you have something to say?
Yep, I'll keep mine short and sweet. I completely agree with all of you, William. Extremely well said. Our police officers are busy enough how it is, especially nowadays. Call volume continues to stay high, and the manpower continues to stay at the same amount. So I very much appreciate what they do. Let's not throw mask enforcement on top of that as well. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Jimmy. So I guess from what the meeting that we went to, it seems like they're going to try something by the end of the month. So we all need to be thinking about this very strongly and decide how we're going to handle this and go from there. And like Darla said, until we know exactly what's going to happen, there's not much we can do right now, but, just kind of discuss. And it's pretty obvious what everyone wants to do here as far as the council. William, you have something?
Yeah, do we need to make an official motion that we agree the law enforcement in the town of Ellettsville not be used for mask enforcement? Then they've got to override our ordinance. Or, I don't know if that gives them a step higher or not.
I would suggest that we wait until we get a copy of the ordinance and see what it says before you do anything.
Yeah, I agree with Darla, because I think they're going to get so much heat of this, and they have been, that they'll probably change this before it comes into effect anyway. So who knows? Any further comments or questions? And, I would actually like to hear from the public, if anyone in the public would like to say anything about this. We're not making any kind of motion or doing anything right now. I just would like public comment. So maybe if it does come to light and it's in the newspaper, then I would suggest the public attend our next meeting and say all they need to say about it. So, all right, seeing nothing further, let's move to
Dan.
Yes.
Dan Berry had his hand up.
I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead, sir.
I agree with everything that's been said. I think it would be very detrimental to try to throw the police on this and make everybody try to enforce this. And if there are going to be people that are going to be calling in and complaining, so-and-so doesn't have a mask on. My neighbor went out to get his mail and didn't have a mask on, and it's going to be a nightmare, I'm afraid. So let's leave the police out of it.
Right. I agree, Dan. And one of the things I said was, could you imagine one person without a mask walking around Walmart? There could be 30 phone calls on that same person that happened. So, you're right. I think that whatever they set up with on calls or trying to have people enforce this on other people, they're going to get thousands of phone calls a day. It'll be harder to try to get a hold of the unemployment office. It's always busy, So I think they really need to do a lot of thinking on this. So even though other counties are doing it, I don't think it's working. So, all right. Does anyone else have anything to say? Okay, let's move it to privilege of the floor. Anything on the, anything not on the agenda, anyone in the public would like to talk about? Seeing none, we will jump to supervisors' comments. Mike Corman.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Mike Farmer.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Jeff Farmer.
I have nothing.
Well, this is easy. Danny.
Well, I've got something. We had a paint sprayer for a while now, and to paint our striping on the streets. And we got some crosswalk projects going up near the junior high. And we tried to paint crosswalks last year. The paint we use now lasted like 2 weeks. And we've been wanting to get a sprayer. We're having more and more strike. And I was talking to Mike this morning, and he suggested that I bring it before the council and see if they're interested. Go ahead and purchase it. It's I mean, we'll paint stripes with it. We have 5 parking lots in town now that we have to stripe, and it paints curbs and all kind of things. Well, it paints. We've got stop bars and handicap spaces and crosswalks, and anyway, the price of $9,976, and I'm asking to see if I could purchase.
Okay, you were cutting out there towards the end. It was how much? $9,976?
Yes.
Okay.
I've talked to Sandy, and we have it budget to pay for.
Okay, that's what I was getting ready to ask you, if it was in your budget.
Dan, it's Michael
Sure.
Farmer, and I fully support this, and I apologize that we didn't give you a heads up before the meeting, but things are moving kind of fast, and it's just got by us, and we really need this piece of machinery. So I apologize for not sending an email out to educate you prior to surprising you with this. So that's on me, but I did ask Danny to bring it up.
That's fine.
Did you get multiple quotes or just the one quote?
Well, I just got the one quote. I wasn't going to buy it this soon, but Mike suggested today it would be nice to have the crosswalks before school started. So that's where we're at.
Darla, do we have to put this out on bid being over 5,000 or?
Well, I don't have the statute in front of me, so I
How
don't
about
know.
an approval to purchase not exceeding that number? And we'll try to get you a couple other quotes.
How about we give the town manager the authority to purchase it after he's got the required number of quotes per the law? He's already under his limit. He can purchase things anyways. No reason to wait.
I'm for that.
Darla?
I think that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Scott, you want to make, or is there any other discussion on this? Seeing none, Scott, you want to make the motion?
I would move that we allow the town manager to carry out the purchase as he sees fit, as long as he complies with Indiana state law.
I will second that. Any further council comment? What was the last part you said on state law or?
Yeah, as long as he complies with state law.
Okay.
Because we had originally set 50,000 for the amount that he can spend without council approval. This is well below that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Just don't think it needs to come back to council for a piece of equipment we need.
Yeah, I think the only thing I was concerned was if we had to put it out for some sort of state bid, because I know there's a number, but it may be over 10,000.
I think you just have to have a quote at over 2,500, and over 10,000 it's a bid.
Okay.
Unless somebody's got a GSA price or a state bid on it.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Okay. Any further council comment on that? And I'm sure you guys will, so I totally trust it. Any public comment? Sandy, roll call?
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
motion carries.
Anything else, Danny? Is he gone?
He's
Took his-
muted.
He took his money and ran.
But I have nothing.
Okay. Jimmy?
Thanks for your support on the MAS project. I think it's just best to do what we're doing. So thank you so much for the support.
No problem. Mike, let's see, who have I left out? Kevin.
Nope.
Okay, did I get everyone? Sandy?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right, I think that's everyone. Council comments. Any council member have a comment?
Yeah, I've got a question, and I may have missed this. What's our council plan as far as extending the Zoom, or are we going back to in-person? I know the governor extended it through August 3rd. Is that correct, Darla, for Zoom?
Yeah, or may even be beyond that. It may be the middle of August.
Okay. For some reason, I thought I saw the 3rd, so that'd be one more council meeting on Zoom.
Seems like we get more participation when we're on Zoom than we do in person.
Yeah, I agree. I think, but either way, I'm fine too. I think
we stick with the governor's my thought.
I'm fine with that too. Yeah. Pam?
Provides a little.
Yes, that's fine with me.
William?
Say it provides consistency because we don't want to have a situation where we open and then have to close again.
Sure. Scott?
Yeah, I think if nothing else, just for our employees' peace of mind, that they're not attending yet another meeting with a whole lot of people in the public that potentially could expose them. That includes us bringing something.
100%. Okay, any other council comment?
My only concern is I get a little backlogged on signatures for the documents. And if I've got the packet ready and put it in the chamber conference room, would council members be willing to come in one at a time and sign the required paperwork?
I have no problem.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah, just leave us a couple days to do it. It doesn't have to be done by a certain day.
Okay.
Sure. Like the whole week, really.
Can we just communicate? Can we set something up with you, Sandy, on email, date and time?
Yes.
Okay.
Pam,
That'd
are
be
you
great.
okay?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right. No further council comment. Is there a motion to adjourn? No motion. You guys want to sit here all night?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion. Sandy, roll call.
Dan Swafford,
Yes.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
Pamela Samples.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 7:44 p.m.
Thanks, everyone, and we will see you later.
Hey.